Couple of years down the road, you smell the fried chicken
Yes.
cooking in the fryer. You feel that unmistakable slip of walking on a greasy kitchen floor. You know how
Well,
sometimes you're just like, "Fuck, am I gonna make it?" You're just kind of
yeah.
always on edge. You smell the smoke, the cigarette smoke wafting in from the showroom.
Well,
In between squeaks of the doors, it swings open, breaking the barrier between front of house and back of house. You hear a sweet, sweet croon
yeah.
come from a stage at the other end of the showroom at the Standard. The Standard is like a sort of a very classic, aspirational 1920s vibe kind of thing to it. Um, 20s, 30s, somewhere in there. Everybody dresses to the nines, white linens on tables, right? Stiff cloths. None of these flimsy cloth napkins. These are tough ones.
Yeah.
Mm.
Who needs flimsy napkins?
That's what the brand of napkins, they're called Toughies. And that's their slogan is who needs flimsy napkins? Their
Oh
their
man.
mascot is like a little goblin man who he's like naughty. Most of the commercials show him like at a party, like climbing onto a table and grabbing a cloth napkin and just tearing it apart. But then he
Whoa.
gets to one where with Toughies and he yanks and he yanks and he can't fucking do it. So yeah, the Toughies are a nice touch.
Okay. Toughies.
And once in they do regular performances at the Standard. There are like some in-house acts like excuse me, like a jazz ensemble. They got a couple of pianists that'll come in and just play piano for a couple hours. But on the weekends, that's when they bring out the big guns, the attractions. That's when they bring in touring acts and people who do a circuit. A lot like stand up, but in like a musical sense. There are venues who instead of comedy on a Friday night, we'll have a musician come in and perform for 3 hours or whatever.
Okay.
And it's this a same sort of network. There's a community of people who know these spots and who books them and how much they pay and it's a whole network of like touring like steakhouse musicians based. It's called the cattle circuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's a there's a map. It takes you through all these different like little one-nighter places and like how you can do it the most efficient way to make the most money and how to book it right. And there's a lot of information out there for those kind of guys. And tonight you have a classic in-house.
Wow.
You look out the door as it sort of swings open and shut, and lit up on the stage at the Standard is none other than Pauly Falsetto. He's in the middle of Blue Moon. Blue Moon.
Without a dream in my heart.
Yeah. And he kind of like he hits that line. It's at the end of the song. Without a dream in my heart. And he stands there in the spotlight and savors it for just a second. because he knows that this is like the last moment where he has everyone eating out of the palm of his fucking hand.
Yeah.
It's like the ultimate power moment in like his act in his set. It's the moment that makes all the driving worth it, that makes the shitty hotels worth it, the gas
Yeah.
station chow, all of that stuff. It's
Yeah.
this exact moment looking out under a room full of people who are dimly lit by the votives in front of them. Husbands with their arms around the wives for maybe the first time in months or years. It's always a special occasion when Pauly Falsetto is at the standard.
It's a lot to live up to.
And then he hits it without a love of my own. And the band that's coming out of the speakers behind him, he's singing to a track, you know.
Oh, that's kind of shitty. It's a little embarrassing.
They hit they hit just this like little line, you know, and they just get out of the thing. And he
Yeah.
says, "The standard, you've been wonderful." He bows, right? To like thunderous applause. People are standing up, right? Standing ovation.
So this is like Rat Pack-esque kind of
Oh, very, very
like a
much.
Sinatra almost. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
People are standing. Paulie exits the stage, you know, into like the back room. People still stand. They still applaud. You're looking out, just like jaw dropped, like what the fuck is going on? Moments later, Paulie comes out. Somebody brings a dozen roses to him. He says, "Thank you so much." You know, holds the roses in his hand. And he says, "I bet you all want an encore." And the place erupts. And he goes, "All right, I'll give you an encore." He walks the roses back into like the dressing room area. He comes back out on stage. He kind of like tells everybody to quiet down. The showroom gets still. He says, "I've been on the road a long time, and the Standard is my favorite place to be." Because I look forward to this show every single year, and you guys never disappoint. There's a moment where it's dead quiet, and he goes, "For my encore," and then some guy yells out, "Dream Lover,"
Dream Lover.
right? And he's like, he kind of like laughs. He goes, "Ah, I'm sorry, sir. I'm not going to do Dream Lover tonight." And then he goes, "Oh," and everybody kind of laughs, you know.
Maybe he doesn't have the right CD with him.
He uh he says, "Instead of Dream Lover, I'm going to give you guys a treat. I don't do this one very often." He says, "I'm gonna," and then another guy interrupts him. He yells, except this one time he yells, "You should do Dream Lover."
What the fuck?
And a hush kind of comes over the room. Paulie Falsetto kind of shades his eyes. He looks out into the crowd. He sees a man sitting alone at a table. He's wearing white jeans. He has on a white jean jacket with fringe hanging off the backs of the arms. The the back has a giant ace of spades embroidered into it,
Whoa.
and on the lapel above his pocket are the initials D D. He takes a long drag off of a big cigar. Paulie lights like his face lights up, and Paulie kind of sees him, and he kind of gets like a concerned smile, and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I don't have that one on my playlist tonight." The guy, the man in white, stands up, takes a
Uh-oh.
couple of steps towards the spotlight. You can tell that he's like a large man, every bit of 6'3" and up. Whereas Paulie is probably a little bit more on the smaller side. He's maybe 5'7", 165 pounds on a good day, rail thin. So you're looking at they're almost the same height, even with the stage difference. That's how big this guy is. And he gets close enough to where when he talks, it gets picked up by Paulie's microphone and projected over the PA. He says, "Last time I was in town and you were in town, you said you do Dream Lover." He takes a long drag off the cigar. He speaks the smoke right into Paulie's face. He says, "We bet on it." And the crowd gasps.
They gasp.
Yeah, several people gasp. And then one guy from the crowd, he goes, "Hey, Dream Lover is like the first song I ever got a blowjob to." And he's there like with his arm around his wife. She like slaps him in the chest, and he's like, "Yeah, me and this girl, we were at this park, and he kind of like motions the crowd. He goes, out by Wilson's Pond," and people are like, "Yeah." He's like,
Why is
"Right
he even
there."
talking?
And he was like, "Yeah, she sucked it right as the sun was going down, and we had the
Oh,
radio on, and Dream Lover was playing, and he's like, I love that song." And Donnie, or sorry, Paulie Falsetto, he goes, "You know what, guys? I'm sorry to do this, but I'm not feeling great. This really took it out of me. Thank you again so much. We'll see you next year." And he cuts the mic, and people are kind of like, "What?" They're like
yeah, what the hell?
a little out of sorts. You're you're kind of like watching this happen from like the kitchen, right? And you get your expo grabs a plate and he's like, "Hey, this is for Paulie. He wanted a meal after he was done." So you go to like walk it into the back room, right? There's a stage entrance, and then there's like a back of the house, back of the building entrance, and you're not going to go up on stage, so you kind of like wind around the back. You go through the back of the building, and you open up the door, and you see that Paulie Falsetto is standing over that big guy, and he's just knocked unconscious, right?
The big guy's knocked
The
unconscious?
big guy's like knocked unconscious. Paulie is like rifling through his pockets,
Whoa.
right? You open the door and you go, "Oh, sorry." Paulie sees you. Paulie sees you. And he goes, "Fuck." And then he looks up. He goes, "Is that my steak?" And you're like, "Yeah." He goes, "All right,
Yeah.
bring it in." He goes, "Close the door."
Oh man.
You close the door, right? You put the steak down on a table. You see, there's like a picture of a woman like on the computer. Like she's like in a Zoom call or something. And she's like, "Paulie, is everything okay?" And he's like, "Not now." He's like, "Shut up." And she goes, "Don't you tell me." And he like slams the laptop, and you hear from
Oh
inside,
wow.
you hear like a muffled voice go, to shut up.
Even though the laptop's closed.
Yeah. And Paulie, he kind of looks up at you. He
That's
goes,
so dumb.
he pulls like a wad of money out of this guy's pocket, right? He kind of like rifles through it. He goes, $1,800. You didn't see anything? It's cash.
Sure. Yep.
He takes it.
Enjoy your steak, sir.
You go to leave, and you go to leave, and he goes, "Hey, does Franklin still own this place?" And Franklin's like been the owner of the Standard for what seems like forever, right? He's
Yeah.
owned this place for 30 years. And he's kind of a prick, He runs it with like an iron fist, and his word goes like there's not like even a conversation about doing anything differently. You operate on like an ancient POS, you know. Yeah, the whole organization of everything is backwards. He still allows smoking in the building, even though the city has been like, "Franklin, you can't." He's like, just find me."
Oh man.
He's just like outwardly defiant, and it's his way or the highway. So you kind of like, yeah, he still does. And Paulie looks at you, he goes, "That fucker still treat you guys like shit." And you're like,
No,
yeah.
he's fine. I would say he's fine.
And he kind of, you say he's fine, and Paulie laughs. He kind of like stands up. He goes, "Look, you don't have to bullshit me. You see what's going on.
Yeah, I do.
He goes, you like it here?" And you really don't. You tell him,
Not
you're like, no,
really.
it sucks, And you're like, the people are fine, the menu's fine, everybody's great. He goes, management sucks, everything's backwards. The clientele's fine, whatever. It wouldn't be bad if it weren't for like all of the bullshit.
Yeah.
He takes a drag off a cigarette. He goes, yeah, I hear that. He goes, I deal with a lot of bullshit myself. And he like looks at the laptop. He opens it up, and the woman who's on the inside, she's like, don't close it on me.
Uh,
He thumbs through a bunch of money. He's like counting it out. He turns the laptop and he goes, what's your name? Point to you.
uh, do I give him I think I probably give him a fake name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you tell him?
Herb.
He
Pat. My
says,
name is Pat. Sorry.
he,
I was lying.
he goes, he kind of like studies you for a second. He goes, Pat. Okay.
Sorry.
He goes, Pat, this is my wife, Linda. Linda, this is Pat. And Linda's like, hello.
Hello. It's nice to meet you, I guess.
He goes, how would you like to fuck over Franklin?
I'd love to. I'd absolutely love to fuck over this guy.
Linda goes, Paulie. He goes, enough. He goes, he already saw this guy unconscious back here. He we're both keeping secrets. He's got $1,800 of this guy's money in his pocket. And you kind of realize like, oh shit, you do have like $1,800 of this guy's money in your pocket. And he's unconscious on the floor.
Yeah, I'm in this now. Fuck.
He's like, look, Franklin's an asshole. He's a hard
Yeah.
bargain, and he wants to delay his payment all the time. He goes, so I just take it myself. And he uh
Okay.
he pulls like a little USB thing out of his pocket. He plugs it into the computer. You see the woman on the inside at her own computer. She's like typing. And she goes, "Okay, sending it over." And it pops up a thing on his screen, and it's like bank information, and he's got like all of
Whoa.
Franklin's accounts. And he goes, yeah, every year we come through here and we take a bunch of money out of his account, and he either doesn't notice or he reports it, and the bank doesn't do anything. They go, we think he's involved in some like illegal stuff, so that's why he doesn't want anyone snooping around. So
Oh, whoa.
we take our paycheck early, and we don't tell him anything about it. And he never asks any questions.
Whatever, man. Whatever you want to do.
He looks at you. He goes, "You guys get direct deposit?"
Yes. Wait, do we?
Yeah, you do. That's like
Yeah.
the one thing that like only because like the bank finally told him like you have to start doing this. Like
He
you have to
resisted.
like yeah. Oh, he resisted 100%.
Oh,
And they're like,
man.
yeah, you have to start doing this. So
Ugh.
he goes he goes, Pat, you're the only Patrick. Patrick, he goes, Dean, is that your last name? He's like looking at
Yeah.
records. He goes, here you go, Pat. Your phone goes off and you have an alert from your bank that says you have deposited $10,000.
Whoa.
And he goes, that's an early Christmas bonus from Franklin.
And I got that 1800.
Yeah. Hmm. You're you see the woman on the screen, Linda. You see Linda go, Pat, are you good with computers at all?
Okay.
I said, have you ever operated like a soundboard or anything?
A soundboard? Like
Yeah,
for
yeah, like a
music?
mix.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. They kind
Many
of like look at
times.
each other and they go, Pat, how would you like to come on the road with us?
What?
Polly kind of he sits on a stool. The guy who's like on the floor, he's like kind of coming out of it. Paulie just stands up and just clocks him right in the jaw. His head goes limp against the floor. Paulie goes, Paulie says, my wife and I, we run the cattle circuit. We do our shows, we go from town to town, and we steal money from small businesses that are they're laundering money, basically. He goes, we steal enough not to piss them off. We do it so they don't know it's us. They go, but it's not enough for them to worry about because they don't want the feds snooping around their books. They go, it's a crime that hurts nobody. He goes, what do you say? Once you come on tour with me and my wife and be our roadie.
So it's almost like we're Dexter, but for like financial crimes.
Yeah, you guys go there, they get into the computer system, and they get in the computer system everywhere they go. They like don't have a problem. They can crack into anything, right?
But we're going up against like bad guys, kind of.
Yeah, there are a lot of these. It's like a small town restaurant owner, like a lot of unsavory, well-to-do white guys. The people are laundering money. They're committing wage theft. They're just kind of pricks in general.
Oh, wage theft. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Okay, then yeah, fuck them. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What else do I have going
So
on?
he goes, all you got to do is you got to set up the soundboard at the beginning of the night. You got to set everything up. You got to load the program. He goes, I'll take care of all the singing, and my wife will take care of all the hacking. And she's inside on it. She's inside the computer screen, like on a computer. And he goes, yeah, she can get into anywhere.
Wow.
He's like, I haven't seen her. He's like, you mess around with like government stuff, but we want to keep it small. He goes, I like seeing the United States. I get to travel. I take my wife everywhere. He's like, yeah, she's inside of a computer, but I get to take her everywhere we go. She's fulfilled. I'm fulfilled. I get to sing. He goes, I had more money than 99% of the people on Earth.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, I've been doing this for 25 years.
Wow.
He goes, and my wife, again, she can get into anything, has made sure that there's always plenty of money in my account.
Oh, wait, hold on. You've been doing the hacking thing for 25 years too?
Yeah.
Wow. And no one's, dude, there's no suspicion at all?
He says, my wife is so good at getting in and out of like computer systems that there's not a trace. Nobody can tell like where it came from, when it came from. They have no
Fuck
idea.
yeah. Let's do it.
He says, I will never know her human touch, but still, she's my best friend and partner in crime. So the three of you guys, Paulie, his computer wife, Linda, and you all decide to tour. You do the cattle run, right?
Cattle circuit.
The cattle circuit. You're playing it at high end restaurants all over the Midwest and the Rust Belt, right?
Yeah.
And you're making money like hand over fist. These people are laundering millions of dollars over throughout the course of multiple organizations over the course of the year. Like, are they going to miss 10K? If so, who are they going to tell about it? They going to talk to their bank about it, and that's the whole
Yeah.
thought, right? So you guys are touring, right?
Are there
You
more
spend
like incidents of like violence with this guy? He beat the shit out of that one guy.
He has beaten the shit out of several people while you've been on tour, but normally it's just because he's like kind of like a stubborn asshole. But he was never confronted like he was in that way. But he has definitely gotten into fights before. So you spend a
That's
year
so,
on the road with
so
him,
weird.
right?
A year.
You spend a year on the road with him. You have $360,000 in your bank account.
Whoa.
You wake up on a Saturday morning. You meet Paulie and his computer wife Linda for a breakfast, and he goes, "Man, big night tonight." And you had forgotten all about it, but it's 1 year from when you guys met, and you're back at the Standard again, your old stomping grounds.
Whoa.
And you're kind of like, oh yeah, this is where we met. This is like kind of like a homecoming in a way. And he goes, and I know that motherfucker Franklin has not slowed down. That he just opened up a laundromat. Gee, he's like cash heavy business. Interesting. He goes, I wonder what he's doing as he cuts his fucking steak, eats his eggs. He goes, we're gonna take that prick for a lot more than we did last time. He chews his breakfast. And he goes, and now you're here. So it'll be a perfect opportunity for you to, distract him a little. Say, hey, good to see you. How you been? Yeah, I'm on the road. I'm doing what I love. It's great. And Linda's gonna fleece him for all he's got. He goes, and you're gonna get a third of it, and then we keep on going.
Wow.
So you finish your breakfast, right? You go to the you go to the standard. You walk in, you see some people that you knew from when you worked there, kitchen staff, bussers, dishwashers, just people. You spend a good little while like making the rounds, saying hello. You pop back in the office and you see Franklin behind a desk. And he is a curmudgeon, but he does look like he's not annoyed by your presence, which is nice. You gotta shake his
Okay.
hand. And he's like, what brings you in here? And I go, oh, I'm here with Paulie Falsetto. I work the road for him. I help him set up his sound. I work his sound. He kind of just goes, it's kind of a gruff old man. He says, well, just know that your meal ain't free, only his. And you're like, okay, whatever. The kitchen staff's already working on something for you anyways.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
What a jerk.
Yeah. You go, pleasure as always, Franklin. He kind of like, uh-huh. He like waves you out of the room. Just a fucking prick. Just an asshole.
He's not even like a lovable curmudgeon.
No, no, not at all.
He's a hateable curmudgeon.
Very hateable. So you set everything up. You set up the board, you program the sequence on on the computer on the playlist, right? Paulie knows what it is, but you've got it all built in there. And the show goes off without a hitch. It's incredible. I mean, he like nails it. He's very good at what he does, right?
Okay.
And yeah, at this point, after a year of it, you know all the classics. You know what he's doing. You know how he plays it up. Like you've heard the same interstitial jokes. Like, you've heard the banter. You've seen the how's the steak. That whole you've seen all of it. You've
Sure.
seen behind the curtain.
Hey, let me ask you this. Has he played that song yet? That the guy asked for? What was it? Dream
Dream
Lover?
Lover. I
Where
mean,
are you? Dreaming
as part of
lover,
like
how down on a burrow.
yeah, he's played it as like parts of other sets. He just didn't have it that night. It wasn't
Okay,
ready.
so okay, fair enough. I just, curious.
Yeah, but he's definitely played it. You go back to you go back to the stand and he plays, he's fantastic, right? No Dream Lover, though.
Hmm.
Same thing as before. Big standing ovation. He comes back out and he says, oh, you guys want a standing ovation, I guess. You want one more. You want an encore, rather. People were like, encore, encore. You're kind of like watching him. He looks back at you and he winks and he goes, this is one of my favorites. He starts into like this whole thing about the song itself. And you hear from the laptop, you hear his wife go, Linda. She goes, hey, Pat. And you kind of look back and she goes, happy anniversary. You hear a ding on your phone. You look down, there's $100,000 in your account.
Whoa.
And you go like, whoa, what? And the
Linda.
moment the moment that it like registers in your brain, you hear Paulie Falsetto go, dream, and then bang, and you see somebody put a bullet right between his eyes, and it's the
Oh
guy in like
no.
the white denim, you like run out on stage and you're like, Paulie, and you look up and he just shoots you right in the forehead, right
Oh
there. Your brain gets
no.
splattered across the back wall of the standard. They never get it all out. It's like in that velvet wall, it's like a very lush fabric. They never
Oh
get it out,
God.
and Franklin is too cheap to put in new velvet. So it's just crimson velvet right there along the back wall.
Oh man,
And
who
it's the
was that
guy.
guy?
His name is Donnie Dart.
What's his sto What the fuck is this guy's problem?
He's a local card shark, and he had made a bet with Paulie Falsetto about playing Dream Lover, and Paulie didn't fulfill his end of the bargain. And he did manage to like
Oh
incapacitate
right.
Donnie Dart, but you don't win twice. Not against Donnie fucking Dart, you don't. You don't win
I
twice.
guess not.
And Paulie found that out the hard way. And
Me
like
too.
as like your brain was already incapacitated, you were like breathing your last breaths. You see Donnie Dart raise that pistol and fire at that fucking laptop, and you just hear a woman's blood curdling scream, and you die right there on the stage of the standard.
Well, she's still alive at least. She's far away.
No, she lived in the computer. That was his computer wife.
I thought she just lived in a different part of the country.
No, she's dead. She lived in the
Oh.
she lived inside of the computer.
Well, if I knew that, I would have had so many questions to ask her and talk to
Yeah,
her about.
the last thought that you had is like how many times you like jacked off looking at that computer. She was like
Oh
watching you the whole time.
no. Oh no. What? Where
I
did
mean,
that
yeah,
come from?
you were just that's like it was a computer that you used to jack off at sometimes. And but she was like in the computer.
But I didn't know.
Yeah, you didn't know.
I just assumed. So for the last year, I just assumed. Damn, that
Yeah,
is
you've
not
been
smart, Pat.
yeah,
Oh,
the last thought you had is just complete fear and shame.
yeah.
And then you fucking died right there. Without a love of my own.
What? Humiliating.
Yeah.
Ah, damn.